Listen closely, because understanding what a woman feels when you step back or become less available is one of the most powerful tools a man can have in modern dating. Most men have no idea how their absence impacts a woman's mind and emotions, and they react impulsively, overtext, or chase after her. That behavior kills attraction and lowers your value in her eyes. The truth is, when you create distance, intentionally or naturally, you change the dynamic. Your absence triggers emotions, reflections, and realizations that are impossible to force through words or attention. Women notice when a man who once provided attention, support, and energy is no longer there in the same way. They begin to reflect on what he brings into their life, whether they truly miss him, and how much effort they take for granted. This is not manipulation, it is psychology in action. A man who understands this can protect his energy, maintain his confidence, and create attraction without trying to control or pressure her. Modern dating rewards men who act with awareness, presence, and restraint. Absence creates clarity, strengthens your perceived value, and allows a woman to process her feelings authentically. This video will explore 7 key emotional responses women have when you are absent, why they matter, and how you can use this understanding to navigate relationships with confidence and strategy. Knowing these dynamics allows you to be the man who commands respect, maintains attraction, and prevents emotional burnout. First, she reflects on your value. When you pull back and reduce your availability, a woman begins to reflect on your value in her life. This is a natural psychological response. She notices what she had been taking for granted, from your attention to your energy, your presence, and your consistency. Men often underestimate this effect because they focus only on immediate reactions like frustration or messages from her. What matters is what she feels internally. She starts asking herself questions she might not have considered while you were always present. How much do I miss him? How important is he to me? Could I find someone like him easily? This reflection triggers emotional reassessment and can reignite desire, especially if she previously felt complacent. When a man withdraws without drama, without excessive explanation, he forces the relationship into a new dynamic where her thoughts and feelings become more focused on him. The key is consistency in your absence. She may feel tension, longing, or even guilt, but your calm distance allows her to experience these emotions authentically. Men often fall into the trap of overcompensating when they see these subtle changes. They start texting more, calling more, or trying to fill the emotional space they intentionally created. This destroys the effect. The psychological principle at work is that scarcity increases perceived value. Your limited presence makes her conscious of how much she actually relies on your attention and presence for emotional satisfaction. Women process this internally, and it often leads to a stronger appreciation for your role in her life. She begins to see your qualities clearly, the confidence, stability, and leadership you bring, because absence highlights what presence concealed. At the same time, she starts comparing potential alternatives, consciously or subconsciously, against the standard you set by your previous presence and current distance. This is why a man who understands female psychology knows the power of stepping back without panic or overreaction. He does not chase validation. He does not plead or demand attention. He lets her reflect, process, and, if the connection is meaningful, realize that she values him more than she admitted before. Your absence becomes a mirror, showing her what life feels like without your influence, your guidance, and your emotional consistency. This reflection is one of the strongest triggers of attraction and desire because it forces awareness, emotional engagement, and introspection, all of which deepen connection if handled correctly. 2. She feels your confidence. When you step back and create distance, one of the most powerful feelings a woman experiences is awareness of your confidence. Men often underestimate how much self-assuredness communicates value without words. By not overtexting, overchecking, or chasing after her, you demonstrate that your life does not revolve around her attention or approval. This absence sends a subtle but powerful message. You are secure, independent, and in control of your own life. Women are instinctively drawn to confidence because it signals stability and emotional strength. When she notices that you are not constantly available or emotionally dependent on her, she begins to feel the magnetic pull of curiosity and desire. Your calm distance challenges her perception, forcing her to see you as someone who is unattached and self-sufficient, rather than someone who can be easily taken for granted. This creates tension, but it is productive tension that sparks emotional engagement. Many men fail to grasp this because they interpret reduced contact as disinterest, when in reality, it is demonstrating strength. Confidence in absence is not about playing games or manipulation. It is about maintaining your standards, showing restraint, and protecting your emotional energy. Women pick up on this immediately, often without realizing it consciously. She senses that your attention is valuable and that she must earn it rather than assuming it will always be there. This realization triggers a subtle psychological shift. Her mind begins to evaluate her own behavior, consider her investment in the connection, and reassess how she has been treating you. She starts noticing the qualities that initially attracted her: your stability, self-reliance, and emotional consistency. When you respond calmly to her messages, maintain your focus on your own life, and avoid unnecessary explanations, you strengthen this effect. Absence paired with composure demonstrates that you are not reactive or desperate, and this contrast creates intrigue. Your confidence becomes a magnetic force that draws her attention, while also reinforcing respect for your boundaries. Women notice and respond to men who are unshakable, who have priorities beyond her immediate validation, and who embody a life of purpose. By being confident in absence, you establish yourself as a high-value man who is aware of his worth, communicates through action rather than words, and allows her to experience the natural psychological pull of missing you and appreciating your value. This dynamic is crucial in modern dating, as it separates men who lead with clarity and self-respect from those who are overly available and reactive. Third, she questions her priorities. When a man becomes less available, a woman often begins to question her own priorities. Your absence forces her to reflect on where you fit into her life, how much effort she has been investing, and whether she truly values the connection. Many women have routines and habits that involve taking your presence for granted, and stepping back disrupts that pattern. Suddenly, she notices that you are not constantly responding, not showing up on demand, and not providing immediate validation. This triggers internal questions. How important is he to me? Am I putting enough energy into this connection? Do I actually miss him when he's not around? Men frequently underestimate the impact of this self-reflection because they assume women are unaffected by distance. In reality, absence creates cognitive space for a woman to reassess her feelings, recognize patterns, and confront any complacency. The emotional process may include a mix of curiosity, longing, and even mild anxiety. She may feel the absence as a void she cannot easily fill, prompting deeper reflection on her emotional attachment. The key for men is to maintain consistent composure and avoid responding to every test or emotional reaction. By not overextending to regain attention, you allow her to process these feelings authentically. Many women, when confronted with this emotional gap, start to notice the small details they once overlooked. Your support, your humor, your reliability, and the subtle ways you enhance her life. This cognitive and emotional recalibration often strengthens attraction because she begins to value the qualities that were previously normalized. It also highlights what she might be missing in comparison to other options or her current lifestyle. Men who continue to act as if nothing has changed fail to harness this dynamic, losing the opportunity to deepen attraction and respect. The goal is not to manipulate, but to create an environment where her emotions and thoughts are naturally focused on the connection, giving her space to realize the value you bring. Distance encourages honesty, introspection, and recognition of your importance without you saying a word. When a woman begins to question her priorities, it often leads to a stronger desire to align with you emotionally and mentally, rather than superficially or out of convenience. Understanding this psychological response allows men to navigate absence strategically, fostering deeper connection, increased respect, and a natural pull toward emotional engagement. Absence becomes a tool for clarity, reflection, and reinforcement of your value in her life. 4. She feels subtle anxiety. When you step back and reduce your availability, a woman often experiences subtle anxiety. This is not panic or desperation, but a quiet unease that surfaces when she realizes that your presence is not guaranteed. Men tend to misinterpret this as a negative reaction, yet it is actually a sign that your absence is creating emotional impact. The anxiety comes from uncertainty. She notices the shift in your behavior, and her mind starts filling in the gaps. She wonders if you are upset, if you are losing interest, or if you might walk away entirely. This mental processing heightens her awareness of the connection and brings her emotions into sharper focus. Men frequently overcompensate at this stage, trying to reassure her or quickly re-establish constant contact. That behavior reduces the effect, signaling that your attention is easily regained and that boundaries are negotiable. True psychological impact comes from calm, measured distance. When you maintain composure, continue pursuing your own goals, and do not overreact to her subtle anxiety, you demonstrate stability, self-respect, and confidence. She begins to realize that your presence is valuable and that her actions can influence the dynamic. The absence creates a contrast between her routine of expecting attention and the reality of limited access. This contrast naturally triggers reflection, attraction, and even longing. Women are wired to notice changes in a man's behavior, particularly when it affects their emotional environment. Subtle anxiety is her mind and emotions processing that you are not always available and that she must reassess how much she values the connection. It is a mental and emotional awakening that can work in your favor if handled correctly. Responding with calmness rather than overcompensation communicates that you are high value, grounded, and not dependent on constant validation. This builds respect and reinforces attraction. Many men fail to understand that this anxiety is not weakness on her part, but a natural response to your absence and the space you have created. It signals engagement, attention, and recognition of your worth. By staying consistent, focused, and composed, you allow her emotions to develop organically, deepening her awareness of your value. Subtle anxiety, when paired with your unwavering boundaries, strengthens the dynamic, increases desire, and positions you as a man who commands attention through presence, self-respect, and strategic absence rather than neediness or excessive availability. 5. She misses your energy. When you pull back and are less present, a woman begins to notice the absence of your energy in her life. Energy is not just physical presence, it's the way you make her feel, the confidence you radiate, the laughter, stability, and engagement you bring into her world. Men often underestimate this because they think attention alone is enough. But your unique energy, the combination of personality, confidence, and emotional consistency, is what she truly values. When it is absent, she senses a void. This is not manipulation or mind games, it is natural psychology. She begins to compare her current emotional experience without you to the way things felt when you were fully present. This comparison often triggers longing, reflection, and recognition of your impact. Men frequently misread this stage, assuming that silence or reduced contact is causing her disinterest. In reality, the opposite is happening. Your absence amplifies awareness of your value. She may find herself thinking about the conversations you had, the comfort you provided, or the way you challenged her in ways that others cannot. This reflection strengthens emotional attachment, provided you do not undermine it with overcompensation. Many men attempt to fill the void as soon as they sense longing, sending messages, calling, or trying to re-establish attention. That destroys the effect because it removes the contrast between presence and absence and eliminates the psychological space she needs to miss you genuinely. The key is to maintain calm, self-assured boundaries while continuing to focus on your own life, goals, and priorities. Your energy is felt even in absence because she remembers what it is like when you are fully engaged. This absence allows her to experience the value you add emotionally, mentally, and even socially, creating a pull that words alone cannot achieve. Modern dating rewards men who understand the power of presence and absence as complementary forces. By stepping back strategically, you allow her to recognize the unique contributions you make to her life without overtly reminding her. She experiences subtle longing and appreciation, which strengthens attraction naturally. Missing your energy is a psychological trigger that reinforces your importance and reminds her that connections with you are meaningful and rare. When handled correctly, this dynamic increases her desire to re-engage with you authentically and with renewed respect, deepening the emotional bond and reinforcing the value you bring to the relationship. Absence, combined with consistent personal confidence, makes your energy unforgettable. 6. She experiences emotional pull. When a man becomes less available, a woman begins to feel an emotional pull toward him that she may not have noticed before. This is a natural response to absence and contrast. When you are always present, providing attention and emotional support consistently, it is easy for her to become complacent or take your presence for granted. Your absence, even temporary, creates a gap that triggers emotional engagement. She starts thinking about your qualities, your presence, and the ways you made her feel, and this reflection produces subtle emotional tension. Men often fail to recognize this dynamic because they confuse silence with disinterest, assuming that if she does not immediately reach out, she does not care. The truth is that the emotional pull often happens internally and may not manifest outwardly at first. A woman's mind begins to process your absence, recalling shared experiences, the excitement you bring, and the emotional stability you provide. This internal pull can create curiosity, longing, and even a sense of urgency as she considers your role in her life. Men frequently undermine this effect by overcompensating, sending multiple messages, calling repeatedly, or seeking reassurance. Overcompensation breaks the natural tension created by absence and reduces the impact of the emotional pull. The correct approach is calm detachment, maintaining focus on your own life while allowing her to experience the consequences of your absence naturally. Emotional pull is strongest when she is given the space to reflect, recognize your value, and feel the contrast between presence and absence. It is not about manipulation. It is about letting natural psychological processes do the work of reinforcing attraction and desire. When handled correctly, this emotional pull strengthens respect, deepens attachment, and increases her awareness of the qualities that set you apart. A woman experiences this pull most profoundly when she sees that your life is not on hold for her validation, that your attention is earned rather than automatic, and that your emotional energy is finite. By stepping back without drama, you create an environment where she emotionally gravitates toward you, reflecting on what she truly values and desires. This dynamic ensures that attraction is not one-sided, that respect is maintained, and that your absence becomes a catalyst for deepened emotional engagement and genuine desire in her mind, reinforcing your position as a high-value man in the modern dating landscape. 7th, She becomes more emotionally open with you. When you step back and reduce your availability, something remarkable often happens. A woman becomes more emotionally open with you. This may seem counterintuitive, but absence creates space for reflection, longing, and perspective. When you are constantly present, a woman can unconsciously take your attention and emotional support for granted. She may hide her true feelings, test your boundaries, or maintain emotional distance because she assumes your presence is guaranteed. When that presence is limited, she begins to experience what life feels like without you consistently around. This emotional gap encourages her to explore her feelings and express them more honestly. Men often misunderstand this process and mistake it for indifference or withdrawal. The key is that your calm, composed absence signals confidence, self-respect, and independence, which paradoxically encourages her to share more. She senses your value and realizes that emotional openness is a way to reconnect meaningfully rather than superficially. During this stage, she may reveal thoughts, feelings, and desires she previously withheld, either consciously or unconsciously. Your absence creates a safe tension. She wants connection, but she must meet you on your terms rather than expecting constant access. Men often fail here by reacting too quickly to emotional revelations, either overextending themselves or seeking immediate reassurance. That destroys the natural balance and reduces the effect of your absence. Instead, maintain consistency, calmness, and focus on your own priorities. Let her emotional openness develop naturally and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. This deepens attraction because she is now engaging with a man who embodies confidence, stability, and boundaries. Her openness is a reflection of her recognition of your value, the contrast she experiences between presence and absence, and the psychological pull you create by stepping back strategically. Women respond to high-value men who maintain standards, protect their emotional energy, and allow space for natural processing. By encouraging emotional openness through absence, you shift the dynamic from one-sided pursuit to mutual engagement. She begins to invest emotionally, communicate authentically, and connect with you more deeply than before. This stage is critical for building meaningful, lasting attraction because it moves beyond superficial interactions and creates a bond based on genuine recognition of value, emotional presence, and respect. The more she experiences your calm, strategic absence, the more she is inclined to share, reflect, and align with you emotionally, strengthening both desire and connection in the modern dating world. Understanding what a woman feels during your absence is one of the most powerful tools a man can use in modern dating. Absence is not about manipulation or games. It is about creating space for reflection, emotional awareness, and genuine attraction. When you step back, she notices the silence, reflects on your value, feels your confidence, questions her priorities, experiences subtle anxiety, misses your energy, and becomes more emotionally open. Each of these responses is a natural psychological reaction that reinforces your worth and strengthens the connection. Many men fail because they overcompensate, react impulsively, or chase validation. They interpret her reflection or longing as disinterest or a loss of control. In reality, these feelings are signs that your absence is creating impact. A high-value man understands that calm distance, consistency, and focus on his own life amplify attraction and respect. He does not need to chase. He allows natural processes to highlight his importance and maintain emotional tension. The key takeaway is this: absence magnifies value. It forces a woman to notice, reflect, and engage emotionally. It strengthens attraction without drama, strengthens respect, and encourages genuine connection. By strategically creating space while maintaining composure, you command attention, preserve your confidence, and allow a woman to experience her emotions authentically. This is how men lead in modern dating, how they maintain strength, and how they cultivate relationships that are reciprocal, emotionally rich, and aligned with their value. Step back, observe, and let absence do the work. It is a silent yet powerful force that transforms connection, desire, and respect.